Good morning, students. Good morning, students. Today we are going to stay myself, Dr. Vignesh, Senior Resident, Department of Respiratory Medicine, Sri Lakshminarayan Institute of Medical Science. Today we are going to see about COVID-19. COVID-19, as you all know, it is a virus, okay, which causes infection of upper respiratory tract and pneumonia. These are enveloped RNA viruses. These are enveloped RNA viruses which are distributed among humans, animals, as well as birds, and are of type alpha, beta, gamma, delta. 2019 in COVID-19, which falls into the genus beta coronavirus, which is found in humans, bats, and other wild animals. 2019 COVID, that is 2019 novel coronavirus, now called as COVID-19, which falls into the genus Beta coronavirus, which is found in humans, bats, and other wild animals. On December 31st, 2019, China reported a cluster of cases of pneumonia from Wuhan associated with seafood. This was later diagnosed to be associated with novel coronavirus, which is different from previous two variants. On December 31st, 2019, China reported a cluster of cases of pneumonia from Wuhan associated with seafood. This was later diagnosed to be associated with novel coronavirus, which is different from previous two variants. It is called corona because in Latin, corona means crown, and this virus has crown-shaped appearance. Viability period of viruses on different surfaces. Aerosols, it's viable for 8 hours, copper 4 hours, cardboard 24 hours, stainless steel 48 hours, plastic 72 hours, shoes 5 days, and water sewage in weeks. So, aerosols, it is for 8 hours. The least is copper. Copper, it is in 4 hours. Next is aerosol 8 hours, viability period. Cardboard 24 hours, stainless steel 48 hours, plastic 72 hours, shoes 5 days, and water and sewage in weeks. Cardboard 1 day, stainless steel 2 days, plastics 3 days. You can remember like this, which will be very easy. Cardboard 1 day, stainless steel 2 days, plastics 3 days. 3D plastics, 2 days stainless steel, 1 day cardboard. Spread from infected person via droplet. Aerosols, usually a droplet spread from coughing and sneezing. Spread from infected aerosols, the virus remain viable in air for 8 hours. Fomites, inanimate objects are the third way of spread. Okay, spread by infected person via droplet or aerosols. Okay, so second is full fomite or inanimate objects. Okay. This is the pathogenesis. Attachment entry by SARS-CoV-2. Clinical features, incubation period is between 2 to 14 days. Spectrum of case, about 25% of patients with COVID-19 may remain asymptomatic. However, they may be carriers and may spread the disease to others. Symptomatic patients present with mild symptoms of 81%, moderate to severe symptoms of 14%, and critical illness of 5%. Common clinical features of the onset of illness are fever in 88 to 99%, fatigue in 38 to 70%, dry cough in 59 to 60%, anorexia in 40%, myalgia in 15 to 35%, dyspnea in 19 to 31%, sputum production in 27 to 34%. These are the common clinical features of the onset of illness. Other less common symptoms are headache, sore throat, rhinorrhea, gastrointestinal symptoms like nausea and diarrhea. These are the symptoms. Cold, difference between cold, flu, and coronavirus. Fever, it is a common symptom of fever, cough, difficulty in breathing. Any patient with fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, three major symptoms of coronavirus, which differentiates from cold and flu. If the patient has fever, if the patient has cough, if the patient has difficulty of breathing, more in favor of coronavirus. If the patient has runny nose, sore throat, cough, runny nose, sore throat, cough, it is cold. If the patient has fever, body ache, fever and body ache will go into favor of flu. If the patient has fever, cough, and breathlessness, it's in favor of coronavirus. Complication of COVID-19 infection. Respiratory complications are acute respiratory distress syndrome, pneumonia. Non-respiratory complications are septic shock, kidney injury, disseminated intravascular coagulation, rhabdomyolysis, acute cardiac injury like pulmonary myocarditis and arrhythmias. These are the complications of COVID-19 infection. For the timeline of COVID-19 infection, timeline. Day 0 infected, day 5 was the onset of symptoms, day 7 IgM positivity, day 7 to 21 the IgM antibody remains positive, day 14 the IgG antibody becomes positive, day 1 to 28 the SARS RNA and antigens will become positive, and day 21 the IgM disappears. Day 28 RNA and antigens disappear. So day 7 the antibodies appear, IgM is the first antibody to appear, and day 14 IgG appears. Okay. Within 1 month, RNA, the antigen, they will disappear. IgG disappears in 1 month. That is on 20%. Day 21, IgM also disappears. So IgM starts at day 7, IgG starts at day 14. Okay. Asymptomatic phase is day 0, day 5 is the asymptomatic phase. Day 0 to 7 is the window period. Only PCR is positive in this phase. And after that, only the symptoms will come. And day 14 to 21 is the decline phase, still infected. Day 21 to 28 is convalescence phase, maybe still infected. Diagnosis samples to be collected. Nasopharyngeal, for the diagnosis, samples to be collected by nasopharyngeal or oropharyngeal swab. The samples require storage at 2 to 8 degrees centigrade. This is the positivity rates of all samples. Bronchoalveolar fluid, lavage fluid, 93% sensitivity and positivity. Bronchoscopic brush biopsy is 46%. Sputum is 72%. Nasopharyngeal swab is 63%. Oropharyngeal swab is 32%. Feces 29%. Blood is 1%. Urine is 0%. If you see in this, the bronchoalveolar lavage fluid is 93%, highest positivity rate. Sputum is coming second, 72%. Next, after sputum only there is nasopharyngeal swab and oropharyngeal swab. Okay, nasopharyngeal swab and bronchoscopic brush biopsy, and then oropharyngeal. So oropharynx least, oropharyngeal feces they are the least. Bronchoalveolar ball fluid, sputum, and bronchoscopic brush biopsy. These are the best things. Okay. Then correct COVID-19 test as per ICMR guidelines. Real-time PCR, RT-PCR, gold standard test, more accurate in detection and ability to run 90 samples in a single run. Accurate test, gold standard test. Average runaround time is 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours. 2 not CB not sensitive test. CB not, as you know, it is a very quick test. It can be done in 60 minutes. Okay. Rapid point care antigen detection test. Sensitivity is 30% and specificity is 100%. Do not CB not. It's a sensitive test. Okay, quick around turnaround by 30 to 60 minutes. Rapid point of care antigen test sensitivity is 30% and specificity is 100%. Moderate sensitivity but high specificity. Does not require a specialized machine and can be used in field settings. All symptomatic negative patients should be essentially referred to RT-PCR for COVID-19. It is done in within 30 minutes. So the quickest test is rapid point of care antigen test. Okay. Sensitivity is low, but specificity is more. Okay. Specificity is 100%. All symptomatic negative patients should be essentially referred to a RT-PCR for COVID-19. IgG antibody test for COVID-19. Only for surveillance and not for diagnosis. IgG antibody generally start appearing after 2 weeks of onset of infection. Detection of IgG antibodies for SARS infection may be useful in the following situations. One is zero surveys to understand the proportion of population exposed to infection with SARS coronavirus, including asymptomatic individuals. Survey in high risk or vulnerable populations, healthcare workers, individuals in containment zone, etc., to know who has been infected in the past and has now recovered. It takes between 15 to 30 minutes. So IgG antibody test and rapid antigen test both takes between 15 to 30 minutes. Diagnostic test sensitivity in the days after symptom onset. Sensitivity. If you see in this test, um, RT-PCR test is very test sensitivity increases in 1 to 7 days. First 7 days, days after the symptom, of the first 7 days of symptom after the sensitivity is around 67%. After that, the sensitivity decreases. Whereas the total antibody test it reverses. In after that, around more than 15 days, then the sensitivity increases. Definition of influenza-like illness is defined as one with acute respiratory tract infection with fever and cough with onset of pertussis within last 10 days. Severe acute respiratory illnesses, one with acute respiratory infection with the fever, cough with onset within the last 10 days and requiring hospitalization. 2 points we have to note in this. One is the cough is the onset within last 10 days and with history of fever. The severe acute respiratory tract infection is same cough with onset of last 10 days, fever more than 38 degrees centigrade or equal to 38 degrees centigrade and requiring hospitalization. It's very important. Okay, requiring hospitalization is severe acute respiratory tract infection. Respiratory failure is represents the failure of the lung to maintain adequate gas exchange characterized by ABG abnormalities, PaO2 less than 60 mmHg with or without hypercarbia, PaCO2 more than 46 with a drop in pH less than 7.30. Treatment non-specific, general, specific, asymptomatic, no symptoms, SpO2 more than 94 and more improvement, respiratory rate 24 and less, no evidence of hypoxemia or breathlessness. Mild patients with uncomplicated upper respiratory infection, uh, which is SpO2 94 and more improvement and respiratory rate 24 and less. Okay. No evidence of hypoxia or breathlessness. Just with simple upper respiratory tract infection like sore throat, runny nose, fever, these are mild cases. Moderate cases is pneumonia. When the patient has pneumonia, it is moderate case. Pneumonia with no signs of severe disease, SpO2 of 94 to 90 in room and respiratory rate of 24 to 30. They are moderate. Severe is signs of severe pneumonia, SpO2 less than 90 at room and respiratory rate more than 30. They are severe cases. Critical acute respiratory distress syndrome (ARDS), new or worsening respiratory symptoms within 1 week of known clinical onset, chest imaging bilateral capacity is not fully explained by effusions, lobar or lung collapse or nodules, respiratory failure not fully explained by cardiac failure, fluid overload, oxygenation impairment in adults, mild ARDS is PO2 by FiO2 less than 200. Um, 200 to 300 in that range. If PF ratio, that is PaO2 and FiO2, the PF ratio is less than, if it is less than 300 and it is more than 200, it is mild ARDS. Okay, moderate ARDS is less than 200, 200 less than 200, okay, 100. Severe ARDS is PF ratio less than or equal to 100. Okay. 300 less than 300, um, mild ARDS, and 200 less than 200 is moderate ARDS, and 100 less than 100 is severe ARDS. Okay. When the PO2 is not available, then you can use another formula which is SpO2 and FiO2. SpO2 by FiO2 less than 315, less than equal to 315 suggests ARDS. SpO2 by FiO2 less than 315 less than or equal to 315 suggests ARDS. This is a very important area where ABG is not available. Okay? You are not able to find the partial pressure of oxygen, arterial oxygen. Then you can use by this formula, you can tell the patient is having ARDS or not. Okay? Take the pulse ox, measure the SpO2 and the FiO2, how much of oxygen you are giving. That you can, by that you can calculate the FiO2. Both you can divide it and you can find value if it is less than 315. If it is equal to 315 or less than 315, it is ARDS. Okay. Sepsis. Life-threatening organ dysfunction which is caused by dysregulated host response to suspected or proven infection with organ dysfunction. Signs of organ dysfunction include altered metastasis, difficulty or fast breathing, low oxygen saturation, reduced urine, fast heart rate, weak pulse, cold extremities, low blood pressure, skin modeling, or laboratory evidence of coagulopathy, thrombocytopenia, acidosis, high lactate, or hyperbilirubinemia. So these are the conditions of sepsis. Then the septic shock. These sepsis is associated with persistent hypotension despite volume resuscitation, requiring vasopressors to maintain mean arterial pressure of more than 65 mmHg and serum lactate level of more than 2 millimoles per liter. So, in spite of giving intravenous fluids, okay, still there is a persistent hypotension. Okay, to maintain persistent hypotension, so at least the mean arterial pressure should be above 65. Okay. Hypotension is below 65. Below, in spite of giving fluid, if there is a failure in maintaining mean arterial pressure, okay, more than 65 mmHg and serum lactate level of more than 2, then it is septic shock. What are the patients who have high risk? High risk patients are comorbids of age more than 50 years of age, ischemic heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, lung disease, any having previous lung disease like COPD, asthma, post-tuberculosis sequelae, chronic liver or kidney disease, immunosuppression, HIV, malignancy, obesity. These are the comorbidities of high risk patients. Clinically, the patient is less than 94%, tachycardia more than 100 per minute, hypoxia more than 100 more than 30 per minute, and systolic BP less than 90 mmHg, altered sensorium, then clinically they are high laboratory value. In case of lymphopenia, there is a 20 with neutrophil lymphocyte ratio more than 70 for the high risk patients. CRP more than 100, LDH more than 450, serum ferritin more than 300, T-dimer more than 1000. And remember like this actually. D-dimer more than 1000 nanograms per liter. Okay. Next is LDH more than 450. Next is serum ferritin more than 300 and CRP more than 100. Okay. Uh, D-dimer more than 1000, LDH more than 450, serum ferritin more than 300 microgram per liter. Okay. Then CRP more than 100 milligram per liter. And lymphopenia, that is decrease in lymphocyte count with a neutrophil to lymphocyte ratio more than, that is 1.7, I think the normally mentioned more than 1.7. Okay, 1.7 neutrophil more than 1.7. mostly bad prognosis. We get very bad prognosis. Mild cases, you can give hydroxychloroquine, which is absolutely the WHO is recommended, but the Indian guidelines sticking to it. Favipiravir, you can give try favipiravir, or you can give doxycycline and ivermectin combination. Okay, ivermectin 12 mg OD for 3 days, doxycycline 100 mg PD for 5 days. Injection enoxaparin 40 mg subcutaneous OD for 7 days. Moderate cases, antiviral therapy injection remdesivir 200 mg IV on day 1 followed by 100 mg IV daily for 4 days. 5 days. If remdesivir is not available, to start tablet hydroxychloroquine 400 mg BD for 1 day followed by 200 mg BD for 2 days. Steroids injection methylprednisolone you can give 1 mg per kg. Okay, enoxaparin is 0.5 milligram per kg, 1 milligram per kg. And dexamethasone you can also give 0.2 milligram per kg for 3 to 5 days. 0.2 milligram per 0.5 to 1 milligram per kg, dexamethasone 0.2 milligram per kg for 5 days. Enoxaparin 0.5 milligram per kg, that is 40 milligram subcutaneous for 80 kilogram patient. Okay. IV antibiotics according to local antibiogram away. Proving should be the convalescent plasma therapy 4 to 13 ml per kg, usually 200 ml single dose given slowly for not less than 2 hours. Severe cases. How will it be the severe cases? Severe cases, the patient has not received injection remdesivir. Such patients can be started on injection remdesivir. Injection remdesivir 200 milligram IV is the loading dose, followed by 100 milligram IV for 4 days. Total you have to give only for 5 days. In cases of IL-6, cytokine storm syndrome, you can give tocilizumab 8 milligram per kg, that is maximum 800 milligram at one time, given slowly in 100 ml of NS over 1 hour. Dose can be repeated once after 12 to 24 hours if needed. Or injection itolizumab, first dose 1.6 milligram per kg dose IV infusion, subsequent dose weekly 0.8 milligram per kg dose infusion over 4 hours if required. The important thing is injection tocilizumab, which is what 8 milligram per kg, maximum 800 milligram at one time. 8 milligram per kg is the proper dosage of injection tocilizumab, which is given maximum 800 milligram at one time. Steroids, as you know, injection methylprednisolone can be given at 1 milligram per kg. Okay. Dexamethasone 0.2. You can see the increase in steroid dosage. Injection dexamethasone is 0.2 to 0.4 milligram per kg for 5 to 7 days. Enoxaparin is 1 milligram per kg body weight, BD for 7 days. Prone ventilation, cephalosporin 1 gram IV BD can be expected according to local antibiotic. Okay. These are the individual drugs